Right.
What's up, Tearod?
How's it going? You good?
I'm good, man. Good. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. Oh, there we go. All right, I think everybody is on, and we are on the yard. So, Dr. Monica, we call this the on the yard portion of the Doctor on the Don't Stop the Grind podcast, the after party, and on this portion of the show is all about you. We want to hear everything you got to say about
owning your own health.
Owning your own health. I'm from Arkansas, so my vocabulary is real short. I can't really say a whole lot of words, right? But but talk to me. Let's own our own health. What's going on?
Okay. Well, I guess the biggest thing that I wanted to bring to you and your listeners is something that I see all the time, and I really particularly see it in our community. And I'm trying to bring it to the forefront about, owning our own health. There's a lot of comparisons in the news and a lot of comparisons when you get into the doctor's office about, what the medical community wants us to do or what we are, the victims of as far as the medical community. But I really want to talk about what does owning your own health look like, and how does that impact our community as well as us. It's kind of at the heart of my company, Deep Rooted Health. And I wanted to actually just talk about 3 specific points that owning your own health has to do with. The first one is expectation. Like, what do we have as an expectation that our doctors, when we go to see them, we have the expectation that they are there and they're going to answer all of our questions about our health. But when we get there, patients come in and we complain because they don't want to take the medications that are prescribed, or they don't want to stick to the certain dietary restrictions or the plan that we put forth, or they say they're too busy to take care of the things that we've asked them to take care of, or they're too busy to even go to the doctor, and so they get there and they're a hot mess. And that a lot of those things of those things I just spoke of, we are responsible for. When I say we, I consider myself part of the community as well. And as a physician, I don't go to the doctor as much as probably I would expect you to. Number one, because I'm busy. Number two, because I have a lot of the answers already myself. But, once a year, I'm 50, going to be 1 next month. And I have a responsibility also to make sure I get my lab work done, make sure I get my screenings done, my mammogram, pap smears, and all those good things done, so that I can know how healthy or not healthy I am. So I do count myself in the community of that conversation. But when my patients come in and are so angry, at the medical community, I want to hand back to them their responsibility. What can they do to ease the burden, not on the healthcare system altogether, but in doing that, we will ease the burden on the healthcare system, but how about on themselves? So that's the first thing. We have an expectation that our doctors will have all the answers, but what are we doing to participate in that conversation? The next thing is how necessary it is that to understand that a lot of our health issues start in childhood. So we think that once we hit 40, then we get sick. And it's just not true. To own your own health means to own not only your own health, but to own your children's health. So I'm a board certified family physician, and I deal with all age groups from newborns up until 100 plus. And the thing that people don't understand about how health works is that what you are feeding your baby right now impacts that baby at the age of 40 and 50 and 30 and all those ages in between. And it hasn't been seen more than it has been seen in the last 10 to 20 years, because now we are starting to see young people with high cholesterol, young people with diabetes, young people with hypertension. But one of the important facts that people need to understand is that cholesterol plaques, we talk about it as a form of atherosclerosis is the word we use. It is actually starts forming as a baby. So what you are feeding your baby, just as a quick snack, just as a get around, just to keep them quiet, is having a long-term impact. So you didn't just start getting plaques or clogged arteries when you turned 30. You actually started this as a child, and or you started fixing it, right? So it's one or the other. So either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution for your children and your family. So know that as the grandparent, as the mom, what you're feeding your children is having a long-term effect. Now that bleeds over to other diseases like diabetes, obesity. And as I said, we are starting to see more and more of these adult type diseases in children. And unfortunately, in our communities in particular, we don't necessarily have the forethought sometimes to grab a banana, grab some nuts, grab an apple, cut it up before we go out and run our errands with our kiddos. We just stop by the corner store when we're getting gas. And I have patients, regardless of socioeconomic age, because this has become a norm, grab a bag of Doritos, grab some Cheetos, hot wings, whatever you call those things. And they got the nerve to come into the office with them and, feeding the baby right there. Like, the worst scenario, I've seen babies that have Coca-Cola in their bottle, in their sippy bottles. Yeah, and y'all know I'm telling the truth. It's just, and we are trying to figure out why then are we having issues with chronic disease. And so that part we have to own. We have to own the responsibility that health does not begin at the age of 20 or 30. It begins in childhood. And we're setting the stage for that. We're setting the stage for those things. And then on the other spectrum of that, you got when you get older and you're like, you know what? I'm older now. I'm retired. I don't have time. I deserve to sit on my butt. I deserve not to have to go work out. I'm tired. I raised my kids. So guess what? Even on the other side of it, if you got 40, 30, 50-year-old bones, they know they need to be treated better, not worse. So that means you still need to take good care of yourself, even as you get older, and not get tired of taking care of yourself, even though you probably spent your life taking care of everybody else. Look at it as an opportunity that now maybe the kids are gone, maybe you're not working as much, maybe you're working from home, and turn that into the blessing that it is, and take the time to fix yourself a meal instead of going to get fast food, or to go out and exercise, or go out and walk, move your body. Those things we owe to ourselves. And the diabetes is a really big one because people are under the assumption that, oh, I'm going to get that anyway because my mama had it, my grandma had it.
I was just about to say something, Dr. Monica.
Yes.
How do you feel about genetic testing? I know I went to the doctor recently and they mentioned because of some health issues that my mother had, that they would like me to do genetic testing as far as, breast cancer and diabetes. She's type 2 diabetes, so diabetic. So how do you feel about that? And my other question is over supplementing, because I think I over supplement. So
those are such great points. So a couple of different things. So there is such thing as genetic predisposition, meaning because someone in my family has something, then there's a higher risk for me to have it. Couple of points about that. So sometimes there are things like Down syndrome that because the gene is already been is abnormal in the making of you, that you couldn't get around. But things like diabetes, hypertension means that there may be a predisposition for it, but it doesn't mean that it necessarily has to come out. But the key to that is lifestyle. So what I teach patients is that the thing that is as much important as knowing what has happened in your family history is how you dealt with it, how it was dealt with. Like, were you raised in a family that put emphasis on how many carbohydrates that they were eating? Did they eat a lot of vegetables? Not just a lot as in, oh, we had vegetables on our plate, but were they mindful about, we don't fry foods, so we pass on how we live more so than just who we are. And that's why really and truly disease processes in our community keep being passed on generationally, because we want that same sweet potato pie cooked the same way our mom and our grandma did. We want that same fried chicken the way mama did. And so if you're eating that, why would you think that you would not end up with the same disease processes? And then add on the fact that now more is more, right? So more is better. We can afford more. I can do more. They may have had a little square of butter. We got to have a whole tablespoon and 3 more. Because why? Because we can afford it. And, and we go to the store and we go to McDonald's, they supersize everything for less. That's all the trick. It's all a trick to the game. So yes, genetic testing, sure, interesting. And for things like breast cancer, there are definitely diseases that you would want to know whether or not you have a predisposition for. But I challenge you that knowing these things is important. What you do about them is even more important. And so the BRCA gene in particular with breast cancer, yes, if you have that gene in your family and then you find out you personally have it, then yes, you need to be diligent about your antioxidants. You need to be diligent about what preventative things you can do to try to prevent those genes from being expressed. And some things we don't have as much control about our environment, very toxic pollutants in the air, but you can do something about not eating artificial sweeteners. You can eat more vegetables and fruits and berries and antioxidants. You can exercise so that obesity does not have an impact on your likelihood of getting breast cancer. Own your health. Take part in the process. And you mentioned supplements. Supplements are an interesting thing because on the core of things, I like to say our food is our first medicine, and we should be trying to get everything we can from the foods that we eat. Unfortunately, in our country in particular, our ground is very depleted nutrition-wise. So our food is not giving us, even on the best day, everything that we need. And I'm talking about eating organic, spending your last dime at Whole Foods, everything. That's better than not, but still our ground, the way we grow foods, it is our crops aren't rotated the same way that they used to be. In other countries, they manage the ground a lot better than we do. So supplements come in because of those nutrients that we are lacking. We are not calorie deficient, but we are nutrient deficient in this country. So that is the reason why supplements can be used, but you can over supplement. You can have reactions to supplements. You need to still do as much as you can by consuming a large amount of good foods. And that helps more than anything. The last thing I would say as far as the point of owning your own health would be taking back your power. I challenged a patient this last week who came in, blazing about how she couldn't stand the healthcare system. And hey, listen, I'm behind her. I get it. We are not at a good place. But she was blazing on things that she herself could own. And I challenge everyone to educate yourself. I know people out here Dr. Googling, and that's fine. Guess what? I don't mind.
Dr. Googling, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't mind. Let's talk. You should bring information to the doctor. Bring your questions. It's not a one-way conversation. It's not a lecture when you go into the doctor's office. It's a conversation. Read articles, read magazines, go to the internet, and then go into your office, your provider, with some questions. Now, if they are offended by questions, get up, go find somebody else. It's a conversation. It's your health. It's your health. They've got their health to worry about, but your health is what you come to talk about. So don't ever let anybody shut you down when you come with questions or innovative ways in which you want to take care of your health. You steer the boat. It's your boat. You steer it. We are just there to kind of give you some paddles, tell you what the wind looks like on the right, tell you what the wind looks like on the left. It's your boat